Welcome to UnSUCKcessful, the podcast where we admit out loud that we suck.
And so do you, but hey, that's okay, because failing, flailing, and falling is how you figure life out.
We're your hosts, Jen
and Brandi,
two 40-something entrepreneurs who have built businesses, burnt out, and realized maybe success isn't exactly what we thought it was.
We're talking about the really crappy moments nobody wants to admit to. Crying in the car, sending that email to the wrong person, or eating cake in the shower.
I haven't done that.
If you ever feel like life is a dumpster fire, you're in the right place.
Let's go get into it. On this week's episode, we're talking about starting, specifically how this crazy idea to start a podcast came to life, even though I swore I'd never do one. We'll dive into where it all began, our unique relationship, and what you can expect from here as we figure out this beautiful, messy thing together. And hey, don't forget to like, subscribe, and maybe take a quick screenshot of your favorite moments to share with us on the Instas at UnSUCKcessful Podcast. We'd love to see you listening. All right, let's go. Brandi, tell the people how this came about.
I mean, over the series of this podcast, you probably learn a lot more about like Jen and I and our relationship and everything. But where this podcast really came out of is the last couple of years. It's been a really tough couple of years for me personally. I know for Jen too. And so there's been lots of times where, we're at soccer and we are chatting with each other. And I mean, at first, I think Jen's world really shifted before mine really shifted. And then we'd have conversations. And then we're constantly kind of back and forth, just talking about how unsuccessful we are.
And how great it is to know that other people are going through the same thing. When you have this relationship where there's understanding, Brandi's been in business. How long when did you start?
When I started in business was 2013. No, 2000. Oh my gosh, 2013.
2013. Okay.
So it's like 12 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
2013 was the year I broke up with my ex. Then I started Teacup in 2016. And then Arlo was born in 2017. So 2017, I think, was the year we probably met technically online, although we both knew about each other before that.
Jen and I have known each other for quite a few years. We were actually just talking about this the other day. We were thinking like, how long ago? When did we meet? How did we even meet? It's one of those friendships that's developed over time. We didn't really know. I mean, we know where the beginning was, but we didn't really have like a definitive kind of moment. And over the years, we've kind of come in and out of each other's lives, I guess, hey?
I knew Brandi for a long time. Like, I knew Brandi back in, like, when the Roadhouse, that's like the place to be, because you would go to Moxie's where she was a server, which was right across the street from the bar that you would then go to. And so everyone knew Brandi, her big, like, curly hair, the waitress at Moxie's. So what was that, 20 years ago?
That was a long time ago, yeah.
So I knew who Brandi was, and I was a nobody. Young, like 23-year-old. And then we started to kind of like fall into the same circle, but yet we weren't ever really in the same room together.
No.
Until we decided, like, the moment we actually met was working with a coach, and she had open office hours. We were both working with her at different points in time, I think.
Yeah, it was like an open office hour call that she just offered to her clients. It was like when she had one-on-one clients, I think.
Yeah.
And then it was like once a week where you could join in with other women in business.
And we were always there. And it was just like the two of us so often. Well,
and so that was, and Arlo was just born. Oh my God. Yes. And one of the things that's so interesting is like Tagish. He's the same age as my youngest. Like her oldest is the same age as my, but we never like really put two and two together. Now our kids go to the same school, and now they're playing soccer together, and now they hang out with their friends. And it's like really weird because we didn't, like, for years, we didn't even know that they were the same age, existed together. Like, it was just like a really weird thing.
There is a lot of similarities, but a lot of like you said, it's not quite parallel. Things aren't happening at the same time, but it's kind of like one will go through one. And it's the same energy of what's happening, but different, right? And I know I've been able to apply what I'm going through at a different point in time to a conversation that Brandi and I might have had like 3 years ago. So I think that it's a special relationship. And I know we have a lot of similar characteristics. We have a lot of different characteristics.
And very different industries.
Very different industries. I'm a general contractor. I've been home building. and construction and design since I was 19 years old. And Brandi
in the beauty industry in various capacities, you know,
banking.
And banking. I mean, what we're really seeing that Jen and I have talked about a ton of times is a lot of women that we know in business that are hitting that, 10-year mark or whatever, that went through COVID in business. There's so many women around us. Like every single successful, quote, successful woman that I have relationships with is going through this, crisis, midlife crisis of burnout. But it's bigger and more than that. It's an identity shift.
Yeah.
We're all hard workers, and for a variety of reasons that Jen and I will probably get into. Like we're big into the psychology of things and talking about, the why and the how and all of that, like what drives us motivationally and all that. But yeah, we're really seeing this. People feeling like failures. I know that I've really felt like a failure over the last couple of years. And that's really where it comes from, like the dreams and the goals and the expectation versus what actually happens in reality. And that disconnect. And that's when you start to feel like failure. At least I'm like coming over that other side. And I think that's where this podcast is great therapy for myself, but also for other people to listen to and to feel like they're not alone. I'm sick and tired of the what success is looking like.
Yeah.
And we all know when we hear about the Instagram quotes where, fail forward and all the, the sexy terms for failing, and that, the most successful people have failed the most. But it's not fucking easy. And it doesn't, and when you're in it, it is not glamorous.
Yeah. Ask me a month ago, ask me 4 weeks ago. I was like, I don't want to start a podcast because I don't believe in make work projects. Brandi says we all work hard. I mean, I guess we probably work hard, but like, I refuse to work hard. I am like, I do not work hard. I work smart. I work efficiently.
She works hard.
But I do work hard, right? And that constant hustle culture that we have been taught, and it's been such a thing over the last decade. Hustle, 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 right? You can do your 9 to 5. You can hustle at night. If you're willing to put in the hours for someone else, you can put them in for yourself. But here's the thing. Now we've been doing it for 10 years and we're tired. So we want to bust apart hustle culture and really show you what it looks like truthfully, realistically, the feelings, the emotions behind it, and not just in business, but in everyday life. So we're going to break that apart here, and we're going to have some real honest conversations about what it really looks like to be in business and live here 5 years post-COVID already. Mm-hmm. That's insane that it's been that long. And we're going to talk about the real truths of it.
Mm-hmm. Circling back to where the podcast started, everything, there's a time and a place. And like Jen was saying, they asked her 4 weeks ago, she would have said no, right? But
I would have said no. I was just like, I don't want to do a podcast. I didn't have a good idea. I was just like, what the fuck am I going to talk about? Like, come on.
Yeah. I'm in follow Forbes, and there was this young girl. And the one thing you're going to learn about me is that I'm like high level details. I don't remember what her podcast was, nothing. I remember they were interviewing her about her success. And really it was an idea of taking something, her podcast was something where it's like taking an idea and then kind of flipping it on its head. That's what made it successful. And so it was kind of like, I was like, oh, we should talk about like being unsuccessful. Like, I don't know, there's this idea popped in my head. So I was just like, that would be cool. And then I was like, Jen, like,
that's so funny.
Jen's unsuccessful.
She's unsuccessful too. We could do this together. We put the suck in success.
Yes. But yeah, no, I knew she'd get it right away. Like I knew she'd get it. And I think the funny thing about this too is one of the things that I'm like, I kind of went through my mind, and I don't know, we haven't talked about this, Jen, is that like, I know we're both really big believers in the energy that you put out there and the self-fulfilling prophecy of things and the words that you used. And so part of me was like, oh, I don't know about this unsuccessful. Like, don't know if I love that.
I've had the same thought.
You've had this.
I'm like, I don't want to talk about being unsuccessful, because if I talk about unsuccessful, then it's going to come back.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. But at the end of the day, it's all about the intention behind it.
Right.
Right. We're having fun with it. You know, our tagline, we suck and you do too. think really it's just about normalizing and let's being like really honest with ourselves and giving people some grace. And you know what, like we're all going through it. And that's just one thing that, again, I like look at the Instagram shiny quotes and, you know, there's so much of, I'm thinking of like Arnold Schwarzenegger right now, like just that, like that energy, like, you know, you can do it. Like just very motivational, just push through energy. Yeah. We're tired. So
yeah.
that's where this came from.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's our hope. That's our dreams and our goals.
Well, I mean, I don't believe this. I don't actually practice this in a day-to-day setting, which is if it's not an immediate yes, it's a no. I'm like, I don't know. And I'm like, okay, it could be a yes. Then I make it a yes. And then those are the biggest decisions that I've regretted like the most. But having the space, I've given myself a lot of space in the last year to know what I want to do. And although I say podcast wasn't on the radar 4 weeks ago, even the idea that it was like a 2-sentence long text. It was like podcast called UnSUCKcessful. And I'm like, yes, like, fuck yeah. Like it wasn't even a doubt in my mind. And then I burst out laughing because I think it was a day or two before that where I announced I'm going to do stand-up comedy in 2025, terrifying as it may be. And someone had said, you're going to do a podcast. And I said, no, I do not want to write a book. I do not want to do a podcast. And as soon as Brandi pitched it, I was like, yep, done.
Really? Somebody said that? Somebody said you're going to do a podcast?
Yeah, in 2025.
Who said this?
I can't remember. I'll have to go back and look. But then I was telling, actually, with the volleyball team 2 nights ago, I went for drinks and I'm like, so I'm doing a podcast. And one of them goes, I thought you weren't going to do a podcast. I'm like, I know. There are make work projects. And like I said, I don't like to work hard. I like my peace and quiet. And I like to take creative action towards things that I feel like will fuel my soul. But I knew that this would fuel my soul. But I knew,
honored.
Yeah. I knew sitting here by myself in my living room, like without Brandi, it'd be like, okay, so thoughts become things. I do my makeup.
Which you're really good at too.
Well, I like that, but I already have a platform for doing it. So this is fun. So episode 1, so stay tuned for a lot more. And you're going to hear a lot about our most suckiest situations that are very normal. And if you feel like you suck, it's okay. You probably do. But so do we. See how I flipped it? Should we try it again? Okay. Because ultimately, we suck.
And you do too. Do I look too like...
If you enjoyed today's episode, we would absolutely love it if you could take a moment to leave us a review. Like, subscribe, do all those things. And hey, while you're at it, snap a quick screenshot right now and tag us on the Instagrams at UnSUCKcessful Podcast. We love to see you listening. Next week, we're diving into one of my suckiest life moments, losing my dad and the aftermath that nearly made me give up my company and life as I knew it. It's raw, it's real, and it's a story I've never shared like this before. Thanks so much for being here. And remember, life might feel like a total dumpster fire sometimes, but hey, at least it's your dumpster fire. See you next time.